Good morning, traders. What's going on, guys? I hope you guys saw me on Trader TV. We had a great interview on there. We talked a lot about what you get always, every single day, right here. They only get it once a week. You guys get it every single day. So smash the like. Let's get it started. Let's talk about that Black Friday deal. Don't miss out, guys. Already deep into the green with this account, and I'm going to push it today. Let's see if we can maybe earn the limited account in maybe even a week or two. Let's go for it, guys. Brand new limited account. We got a lot to talk about here. Stocks already trading. I'm green on a bigger trade right now that we'll talk about in the main account. Only one way to get it started. Start that countdown. Michael, where's the money? Hugo wants 200, baby. You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at. What up out there, traders? How we doing? Let's get right to this market. Let's talk trading action. Let's get into the playbook. The playbook's vast today, guys, as I want to give you guys more of that outlook that I talked to you guys. So I have a spreadsheet, but we can just run through it. We can talk really quickly about different trades and different theme ideas that are out there in the market right now. So let's take a look into the action here. I'll throw up the screen here and we'll take a look how the action's going, and not bad trading action already here. We'll see what's going on with the action there, but taking a look at some different stocks here. Right now, I am long a different type of trade, guys, a trade that you guys probably are not thinking about this morning. I'm essentially shorting MSTR. I found a vehicle, a leverage vehicle that Trade the Pool has, SMST. And this is all about trying to play along back to the 7. So I watched it as it got to the 7, and I thought it could get back to the VWAP and start making a move right back above that 7. So that's the play essentially that I'm playing here on the 15-minute, right? So you guys can see it there. Really need to see a pump above the 676 area as I'm in at the 662. I think it's fine to hold to the 650s, but this is as big as I can get on the account. So at some point, if I don't get a lift off before the open, I will try to size down a little bit here, but setting up for a bigger trade in the main account. And of course, you guys know this limited account, and I talked about it yesterday, has until December 5th. Not this one. This is just a main account, not a limited. This is my main account that I've had for a while now, and it needs to start working into the favor, right? On this account, just to give in perspective, after trading it for about a month, I'm pretty much break even right now as I've been battling back and forth, have gotten towards 2,000, 3,000, but nowhere near that goal right now of getting it up there towards like 7. So I'm trying to push it, right? And so the big thing is I need to make some money. I was able to make some good money earlier in the week. So on Monday, I made some good money yesterday. Now looking at SMST to see if I can get another lift here. We'll see what happens. This is essentially MSTR to the short side. And why am I betting this? Well, seems to me like a good bet right now. It seems to me like this is starting to break. Bitcoin could give a little bit more shake today, and then I think it starts to rally. So that shake, that last shake, I think is where you get the panic bulls to sell. And that's what I'm looking for essentially out the gates. If it starts to rally, let's say if MSTR starts to get back above this 387.50s, yeah, that's going to be my out. But this target right here, this 370, this is essentially what I'm trading for. We'll see what happens here. Can MSTR break that 380 on the downside and really start to go to the 370 today? So essentially calling for a Bitcoin pullback, and I'm looking for that to happen today. And then later in the day, or maybe even tomorrow, it starts to come back. That's another thing to look at. And today we will be getting Fed minutes to look out for. So watch out for the Fed minutes to come in later in the market. That's at 2 p.m. But looking to see what happens here, if this can get back through the 16 on CleanSpark eventually. Right now, I think that you wait until you see that big boom, and that's when I really want to go after these Bitcoin names. We'll talk about some different trade action this morning. XRT is up there towards 83.30s, but it did pull back in the pre-market. It's making me want to trade it right now and grab it here. But what I'm expecting is that we get some opportunity to actually go through yesterday's low, which was 82.36. And that's going to be interesting area for me. So anywhere in this gap from yesterday, I'm interested in getting the XRT. So we'll see what happens. Of course, that's the retail trade that I've been talking about here. Can it get back into that spot at the open? I definitely will keep my eyes open for this. But we got a lot to talk about here. Let's keep it going. It's, of course, Trade the Pool. Let's talk about what's going on in the market today. There's so much to talk about, guys. Man, I could talk all day long here today. But yeah, let's talk first Sunrise report. Then we'll get into some of the playbook because the playbook is interesting. And I think that we need to talk a little bit about what's going on and developing out there. But of course, let's talk about this morning as there's just talk a lot on Trump talk, right? That's what you're seeing a lot of the conversation out there this morning. So yeah, just keep that in mind that you're seeing that Trump conversation. And what is that Trump conversation on? Well, that Trump conversation's all on tariffs, essentially. So we'll talk a little bit more about it, but essentially President-elect Trump plans 10% tariffs on Chinese goods, 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada imports, and potentially ending NAFTA. China responded cautiously, but analysts fear supply chain disruptions. And that's where people really get scared because remember, that's what happened in the pandemic. We had supply chain disruption that caused the inflation and then, of course, the massive spending that came in from the government. But I think that the truth here is you got to keep your eyes to see how things really develop. It's something that's not going to be as prudent in the first couple of months of Trump's presidency. It's going to take months and months for these tariffs to become a hinder. So I think that Trump is really giving you essentially a really good tailwind right now where you can push higher and then you'll run into some headwinds potentially if the economy starts to see inflation go higher. But that potentially tells me that I should be leaning more on the positive side of things in the market right now than the negative side. And you know how I am. I have a tendency of leaning towards the bear side. So who knows if I'm calling the top here. But I always like to tell you guys how I'm seeing the market and thinking psychologically because that's how we keep an edge. Let's keep it going. Let's go towards the next conversation where we take a look at what's going on. I'm seeing the USD strengthen, but let's talk about Abercrombie and Fitch. And of course, got to keep an eye out to see what happens with this SMST. Looking for a break above the 680s. That's really going to be a good sign there. We'll see if we can get it back up there towards that 680s and it starts to break. But let's talk about A&F as they're crushing their earnings and bouncing back like no other. Wow, 163 now, man. This is getting me scratching my head because I was before, of course, the earnings came out this morning and we were able to trade it this morning. And it was down there to 146. And I was looking at it right here around 148. And I was like, can you just come back to 146? Because I will buy you ANF today. But now it's 163, 14 points from the earnings. What an opportunity this morning. That's why you got to sometimes trade the retail names early, especially that's why I was looking at the XRT this morning because that pullback gives me an opportunity essentially. But man, AEO should probably be rocketing with this. We'll see if AEO gets the move today. And man, ANF, this one's going to be a head scratcher for me because it was literally one of my top targets. Top targets, man. And I'm the type of person that I always tell you guys how it is and tell you guys that I made this morning, guys. Look at here, the playbook right here. Long ANF. There's a reason why. Earnings came in strong. And while the stock pulled back, it should shake out some of those bulls. It held the 9 EMA on the daily. Watch those levels closely to see if we start to solidify it and go higher. Boom. Exactly what happens. And you can see it on the daily chart. We pull back to the 9 EMA. We undercut it. We fill into some of that gap. And now we just reclaim it with a monster candle back. Yeah, That's exactly what you want to see there in ANF. And now it looks really bullish. This is why I bring up stocks earlier, because now it's kind of hard. Now you're chasing a little bit, and you have to chase if you want ANF. So good move there on Abercrombie and Fitch. But excited today, guys. We're going to have another great one today. Guess what, guys? My man Steve is back. He'll be back with us in just a second. So we're going to have an awesome day today, of course, looking into the market. And I'm always excited to have anybody that wants to come on and join me and expand the show, like always, guys, because the truth is, hey, I don't act like I'm some know-it-all expert. What I'm here for is purely education. And I love everybody that goes with a process approach into trading. As long as you can take this, and I call it a business, right? As long as you can take this business and really approach it with the right mindset, the right effort, I think that every trader can find their way to success. Even if you're the most struggling trader, if you really work at it and understand yourself and improve yourself, yes, you can get this game we call trading. All right, let's keep it going. We'll take a look at the action, but ANF's numbers were not bad at all here. What happened? Oh, I know what happened there. I pulled up the playbook and pulled away my sunrise conversation there. All right, let's get back. I just wanted to mention ANF because, man, it's one of those where I did the Trader TV interview, and now looking back at it, I'm like, man, I should just long this name this morning, just like I wanted to long Best Buy this morning. So let's go take a look at that one. On the ANF, though, they did shine here. EPS, $2.50, beat the $2.39. So great beat on EPS. 121 revenues, beat the 119. Holiday sales outlook raised to 5% and 7% growth, while full year guidance now projected at 14 to 15% growth. Regional gains in the Americas up 14%. And in Europe, you got 15%. In APAC, you got 32%. Then you take a look into it. You see that what are the brands that are a little bit of a concern? Well, like Hollister. Hollister goes for the next gen. And that's doing awesome here with a nice 14% growth there. So it looking all great here in Abercrombie. That's why you're seeing it get bought up. And this earnings report, I have no idea why it was down there this morning at 146. I think, like I mentioned, it was to scare out the bulls that had gotten in on Friday and Monday, trying to get the Black Friday trade that we're talking about, trying to scare them out, and then now rip it higher. And have it higher than those prices than yesterday tells me a lot of that conversation. That's how big money can scare you out of a trade. And the next thing you know, you missed the trade, right? So Abercrombie is a clear example of this trade, guys. And I want to show this chart because I think it's so important to understand this type of trading action. And this happens all the time. How can big money stuff little money? Trades like this, where they're going ahead and stuffing all the action of the prior 2 days. So you can see here, where did the trade go to? It washed underneath all that action into the gaps, a couple of wicks. You guys know how I always tell you guys. What do I tell you? Wicks are tricks. Like always, guys, and tricks are for kids. And Abercrombie there now rising above those levels tells me that big money could be in this now, and they just washed out some of those bulls. That's easy. It's not hard. Put $500,000 on the downside and then go buying $1 million on that downside. They can do it to you guys. All right, let's go ahead. Let's bring in, of course, today we got my man Steve joining us back. What's up out there, Steve? How we doing, my friend? I'm going to adjust this, but hey, how we doing, man?
Hey, we're doing great. How's it going, Mitch?
Oh, it's going awesome, man. It's great to have you today, and looking forward to getting back into the markets with you, man. It's an interesting day, and what you think about this Abercrombie? I kind of just covered it a little bit here, but to me, I think it's like the classic big money, just stuffing it to the little money move with the earnings report and kind of using that to back off of it, right? I think that's exactly what you're seeing here. Hey,
yeah, absolutely.
This is how it goes sometimes, guys.
Big time. You know, it's that's so brutal. They just whipped it down back to the deep support. I'm seeing big support at like basically 145 to 150 or to 148ish, and I mean that's basically all she wrote. Yeah, turned around right there and never looked back. Crazy
yeah,
move.
man. And the earnings report was good. This is what I mean by sometimes that big money can just stuff it to you guys. So it's okay if you got caught on this type of trade. That's why I like when you go and swinging into an earnings report, right? I need to be up massively if I'm going to hold it, right? So let's say if I was swinging into this earnings report, I would have wanted to get in on this probably down here at the 140s, of course, just looking back, but definitely on this day. If I was at the 150, you might have held through that downside action. But if you were at, like, let's say yesterday's prices where things were looking good on that recovery, right, of that 156, then this morning you go in and you see 150s, 149, 148. What do you usually do? You say, okay, this is too much pain, guys. I don't know what the hell is happening in A&F. Stop. Get me out. Get me out. Get me out. And now you're looking back at the stock and probably wanting to throw out some computers. But we don't do that here, guys. But yeah, man, it's a classic move. Let's go to Best Buy. I wanted to take a look at this. I wanted to buy Best Buy. To tell you the truth, I haven't seen it from my Trader TV interview. Let's go take a look. Ooh, spike and then a drop back down. So we're getting that opportunity back. So looks like it's still got that like A&F spike back, but now it's coming back down, giving you an opportunity probably to come back in. And also looking like what? Like kind of like an inverse head and shoulders pattern on the 15, but I don't use those on the 15. The reason why, guys, is that inverse head and shoulders patterns are some of the worst probabilistic trades, guys. I will tell you guys this as just as someone to give you some insight. I've done the research in plenty of patterns. Some of the best patterns are like high tight bull flags, things like that, where you're just having price consolidation to one level and then you get a breakout in a certain direction, right? That's more high probabilistic type of trade. And head and shoulders are just like, they're low percentage in winning a lot of the times. And the biggest thing is you can't define the necklines to a point, right? A lot of times the necklines are drawn just like visually, like I say it here is the neckline, and that's a problem within a pattern, right? The number one thing that you want to see in patterns also is that algorithms want to trade these, because the truth is that's what you're doing, right? If you see the pattern, you don't think the algorithm sees it. It was trained to see it, right? So I think that that's what we need to be looking for. And for me, I'm looking at, when I see a chart like this, I need to go back further in time. I need to go to the hourly and start taking an approach on Best Buy and understanding that what are they doing? They're washing it to this level, right? They're washing it to around this support right here where you did probably get some buying to happen. Now can it hold that area and work its way back above a major level? So for me, the major level is going to be 90. So work out of this kind of funk down here in the 85s, get back through 90, and I'll start riding you back to 95. I got no problem with that. Best Buy, one on the radar today with earnings. Let's give some of those earnings here. Let's give me 2 seconds here. I just got to pull up. I have it on a different one here. There it is. Here you guys see some of my notes and everything. Yeah, man. You guys are getting it all today. All right, so the Best Buy notes today, it fell short on quarterly revenue, though. That's one thing to think about. Miss expectations here, $9.45 billion and $9.63 billion expected. Slightly on EPS, $1.26 versus $1.29 expected. The real concern was when it lowered guidance. It lowered full-year guidance revenue forecast to a cut of $41.1 billion to $41.5 billion, down from $41.3 and 41.9. So essentially bringing it down about 0.4 billion on the top end. So comparable sales were now expected to decline 2.5% to 3.5%. So the big thing here, they're saying that the weak stuff is new iPhones and AI-enabled laptops. Well, I think that changes right here in Black Friday, right? Black Friday is one of those times where a lot of times, so stocks move with fundamentals, right? But there's sometimes where there's something called story, and story can move fundamentals way faster, right? But the only thing is story only lasts so long, right? And that's how you're seeing these quantum names take off. And some people will look at the fundamentals in, let's say, like an Ion Q or QUBT and be like, what the hell? How the hell is this company moving like this? Well, it has nothing to do with the fundamentals. In this case, it's all story. So the story for me right now is all the Black Friday rally, right? So right now, I know that the guidance was horrible in Best Buy, but for some reason, I see it going green today. This is going to be one of those days that can really teach you that type of mentality in the market, that regardless of what happens in the market, sometimes the psychology is more important. It's like 70%. And then when you go into the book stuff, it's like 30%, right? So I think this is one to look at today. We'll see what happens there. Seeing some downside action come right now. I did see some alert there. Ooh, I think SMST just getting a spike right here at the open, guys. I'm going to go ahead and start protecting that position. Of course, it got a spike there to 676. I'm stopped break even. Now we're getting a big spike on this SMST. Let's go, team. We're open. Let's get that money, guys. I'll change the music in a second, but man, I'm trying to cash right now. Look at this, guys. Up almost 900 already here. All right, guys, I'm going to start securing cash here because we got to secure a nice little cushion. So I'm going to put it at, I'm securing 600 right now. I want to get 1,000 on this. Let's go. Let's go through 7. Let's go through 7. Let's go through 7. Come on. Right now I'm at 680s on the support.
Big strength on SPY here. Apple's leading the pack.
Apple's leading the pack, man. And I wanted to talk about that. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't get to it. But I felt that they were selling NVIDIA yesterday. Ooh, what a move there, guys. Did you see that takedown there? I went and cashed there. I'm looking to get back in here. It just moved back down to the VWAP, came right back in here. I'm ready to play it again. Took 561 there. Really good job, Mitch. I'll give myself a pat on the back on that one, Steve. Why? Because things that I've been working on, right? Sometimes we got to give ourselves a pat on the back on not being greedy, on doing the right thing, right? Right there, a moment where I trust me, was I looking for more? Yeah, everything in me was like, go, 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 right? But at the same time, I said, we talked about this, Mitch. Let's keep working on our habits and making improvements. Same thing that you guys should be doing, right? What's that habit that you want to make improvements on this week and really work on that? Give yourself the pat on the back after you do it and take a second. Say, yes, that's how we want to keep trading. Let's go.
I took a little nibble on Rivian here. It got a big gap up on the loan approval news. They got like a 6.6 billion loan approval, I believe.
Yeah, nice mention there on Rivian.
Yeah, it's a very small starter. I think it goes to 1141 here. That's my hourly support. I would like to pick up a little bit more there. We will see if that plays out. SPY's looking really nice.
All right, guys, looking to go ahead and try to get into SMST again here. I just wanted to bottom out one more time here and then start making a green candle approach for a trend line break. I'll let you guys know if I go ahead and get in here. The idea would be to just go for another kind of scalp type of trade here. If it goes below the 650s, that's the breakdown, and I leave it alone. It's pulling back to that 650. It seems like that 660 comes into play. I'm just hands off now. All right, guys, I didn't even get a chance to get to it, guys. Look at all the action that has been going on. This morning, I was able to make a nice trade in the small limited. You guys know I trade the penny names in this one. This was VC. VC this morning, guys. Big cash on that one. Nice 282 on the limited account, the small one, the small buying power. It was a nice little move here. I grabbed 1,000 at 246, 200 at 234. Sold it as soon as it started to rip into the 270s. Didn't get greedy with this one either. Could have gone for 400. Said, I'll take the 280s, almost 300, and get the hell out of there. Now we'll see if that one gets through 2 and keeps moving. But hey, we got action to do. And of course, our brand new limited account. That one's awesome, guys. I've already opened up and got a nice 568 trade yesterday. So check out the brand new one right above. You guys see it. What does it say? Black Friday, guys, discounted already, 10% off, and a brand new super buying power limited edition. I think you guys got to check this out. It's really one of the best deals we have. And that before it was the smaller one. I think this one's now the best deal because the truth is, I mean, who doesn't want more buying power and the same kind of split? So I think it looks awesome there. The profit take down to like 3,200, 33. Hey, somewhere in that range. It's perfect, guys. It's a nice sweet spot. We'll see what happens if we're able to capture it here. All right, guys, looking for some smaller names out there. If you guys got some small ones out there, there's this PSTX that has been an absolute monster today. We'll see if it gets going, though. It's pulled back some. Big gap up there. But I'm looking around. Xena was one that I got in and out of, guys. And it's on a down hold now. So crazy move on that one. All right, let's keep it going here.
Looks like we're going to get a move to 600 to me. I'm waiting for it to clear pre-market, but that's a trade that I'm kind of looking for. It might hollow out things first. But yeah, keep an eye on that. I added a little more Rivian at 1138 there too.
How do you get on the list to receive the morning newsletter? I got you, Kevin. So essentially we put this out on our Discord every single day. So that's the best place to get it, the Sunrise Report. We do put this out on X and Twitter, just not maybe every single day, and we put like a little shortened version. The real key is that's an awesome value to get, right? So I would add the Discord and getting it every single day, Kevin. But of course, there's different opportunities. We do put it out on X. I'm going to try to get them to put it out on Twitter every single day for you guys. The truth is this is my way of trying to give you guys a quick rundown of what's moving and why it's moving, right? So,
Mitch, real quick, can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay,
awesome.
I'm sorry about that. I think it was switching to my webcam there.
There
So
you go. There you go. No worries. Yeah, no. It sounds awesome now. So
Sweet.
At least on my side, it sounds awesome.
Right
All
on.
right, guys. Let us know if there's any mic issues or not. I know I was on Trader TV. My mic didn't sound the best. I don't know what happened there, but hey, you know how it goes. All right, guys. Looking at the XRT, looking at XRT, of course, the retail trade. You guys know how I want this. This came back into that green spot and bounced right off of that. So now I need to start taking a look at this to go ahead and maybe play it here with, of course, the new limited account. I'm up 575 on this, so I'm watching it. VC, though, making a move in the smaller name. I'm going to keep watching that. You guys yell out if you guys see any of those smaller names moving. That's the number one mover I see right now on my scanner. VC and UAVS. There's also Foxo if you like the real cheap ones. That one's 50 cents.
Let's see. We have no new flow on my momentum scanner here that I pretty heavily rely on for day trading. So I think that might have something to do with people waiting for. We have some data prints coming up, right? Or do we get them out
taking
of the way?
off. Q's pushing strong, guys. I'd be keeping an eye on different names out there. How's Intel moving? That's on a little bit of a pullback. That had some news, of course. Got some nice kind of deals going on there. I'll read you guys the news there. I'll take a second away from mine. Intel secured a 7.87 billion CHIPS Act funding. So that's definitely going to help them. We'll see if they get the lift off today.
Apple looks like it wants to cook through 235 here. Keeping an eye there.
Apple's on fire, man. I really do think they're selling NVIDIA and shifting to Apple, but we'll see today. If NVIDIA somehow ends red again, that will tell me something, right? NVIDIA was just washed yesterday. So for me, the big level on NVIDIA, for you NVIDIA bulls, because I'm sure there's people trying to buy this. For me, 138, what is it? 138, 33, around there, 138. So you're trying to get towards 139 and hold. So watch out for those quick spikes above 139 and they come back. That's what I would look. That if that 15-minute candle goes red, no bueno. No bueno.
Man,
see what happens.
Big red spy candle, and I see Apple moving up like while it was going down initially. It definitely looks like rebalancing's going on here.
Yeah, dude, that's what I think is happening. So I think all the money's shifting over now to Apple, and that keeps what? The Qs higher. So the Qs could still go up and NVIDIA go down. That's where people are going to be like, what the hell, man? I bought NVIDIA's dip, but the Qs are going up and NVIDIA's going down. Well,
gotta love that.
that's just how it works, guys. It's rotation, and you got to find the rotation. So, of course, what will we look at? The big boys. How are other big boys doing? Amazon taking off, man. Amazon was a buy yesterday at the 200, and this thing rebound back in the day, in the afternoon, rebound through that 200. This was Black Friday right here, guys. I talked about there was 2 trades I liked. It was Amazon and Shopify, and Shop already on a nice little pullback, recovering the VWAP right now. So I'm going to look at that one. Amazon, though, nice little takeoff to 205. We'll look to see if we get some type of pullback. That's how you keep this market going. That's how you keep the Qs up. We'll see what happens also. What are some other big boys that are up there? I see Meta up 0.8. Meta's a nice one also. Surprising Black Friday trade with Oculus. Oculus, right? Could be getting a nice little sale and could be getting some good numbers. So I think you're seeing a nice little push, and it's on a nice little daily kind of flagging pattern recovery through this 570 level. One to watch is Meta. Meta getting a little lift there, guys. So much to trade right now, man. So much to trade, Steve. Mass buying power. We need to tell Michael more buying power.
Give it all. I'm watching BA here.
Give it all, man.
Boeing is coming into hourly support. There was a lot of good flow on the 155 calls. I'm going to keep an eye on this because I think we could get a straight shot move if it can basically dip a little lower. I don't want to go in any lower than 150 and then basically recover where we're at now. But yeah, it looks like we're taking a little ride here on the market.
Oh yeah,
go down to 597 maybe.
All right, XRT. If I look at the XRT, what's leading the XRT? Well, of course, you got Amazon up there. You got JWN. You got Advanced Auto Parts, AAP, Sprouts, AEO, and of course, CarMax. The used cars, dude. I think I'm onto something with CarMax.
Yeah,
I really do. There's very rare stocks that I call and I called this a month ago. So it's not like I'm just jumping on this, right? Like on this run, but for some reason it's getting hot here. And this is all about a new normal that I think is going to happen. And those are the best types of trades. If you can create a new normal, a new environment, you got to catch that, right? So this is the environment, and you guys think about it. Tell me what you guys think in the chat. If you guys are not, making $1 million, you could take a second, let me know. What about used vehicles? Because if vehicles are going to cost $40,000 to $60,000, or like the average payment $700 to $1,000 a month, I think what's going to become a new normal is just go for the used car, something that can work for me right now, that I can drive, that is functionable, that is not a piece of crap, right? But I'm not saying that people are going to go for a piece of crap, but they're going to go for something that maybe has 40, 60,000 miles on it, that they can drive it another 100,000 miles, and they can just say, well, at least the payment is something that I can afford here, right? And that's what I think happens here until interest rates come back down to the point where you can get vehicles at like 3 or 4%. Then maybe you can, yes, go for a $40,000 to $60,000 vehicle, but you're not going to go for a $20,000 more sticker price and 3 or 4 points more interest rate than what you're usually interested. So just think about those two things, right? With the best credit, you're probably getting a 7% interest rate right now on a purchase. That's tough. So I think what happens here is used cars become the new normal. It's normal to have a used car, right? Or buy a used car. There was a point in time when this was a normal, guys. Not everyone just bought new vehicles all the time. For a little while there, it seemed like everyone was just buying a new car, right? It was like your friend down the street bought a new car, and then next year his friend bought a new car and their friend bought a new car, and it was just like that. But I think this is going to change now.
I think that you're saying a lot of things that make sense, and I think that the market's definitely reflecting that. And if you look at the companies that have really kind of capitalized on this new normal, I mean, stuff like Carvana, it's just insane, right?
Yeah, that's what tells me too, man. And I used to be a bear in Carvana, man. You have to be willing to change, right?
Oh yeah.
It was just because the environment. I'm not trying to be against the company. I'm just trying to call the environment, man.
Mitch, this is embarrassing, but to hammer home your point about you got to be able to pivot. I was a bear at Carvana at $10, and I got
Yeah, I'm
and
with you, man. I'm with you. I thought this was going to zero.
But then I was a bull at 65, and I said it's probably gonna do some crazy stuff.
Dude,
So,
you could look back. I could see it, and people, it's hard to trade this, right? But look how it holds the 90 MA. This tells me that every single time it pulls back, big money wants in.
right,
Little money is scared crapless at trading something like this. They just don't go in it because they're like me. They're probably seeing, well, this is super extended and it's riding the top end of the Bollinger Band. At some point, it has to go to the middle of the Bollinger Band. Yeah. And that's when we get wiped out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's
all right,
fun.
guys. Seeing MDAI, one smaller name, giving me a little alert there, starting to pull back. That's just pulling back to $2. There's nothing much there. Xena, definitely a horrible trade today, guys. That thing came down in a hurry. Probably a big short for someone out there that loves to short these small cap names. This thing was up massive this morning. I think at 4 a.m. it was all the way up to $15. So this is one of those where, yeah, you see those bigger traders that short those penny stocks. Yeah, they absolutely murdered this thing. I'm glad I got in and out of it. What you got? What you got?
I'm seeing pops on Rivian and SPY here. I am
Rivian and SPY.
I'm cautiously optimistic that I'm really looking for spots to go long this week. I think that we have really good chances of clearing 600 and reaching up into 602, 603 ish. So yeah, I may be getting paper cuts here, but I am pretty okay being long Rivian, and I'm picking up a little bit of BA here too.
Man, so, we are seeing some strength, man. I'm seeing the cruise lines up good. Rivian, I see that SPY. I'm going to call out some names that are strong in the SPY, and I'll call out the themes there, right? So it's important to think about that, right? So you got NRG as an energy play, of course. That's kind of more into what you're talking, of course, the recent run, which is kind of more your nuclear plays and things like that. So this is an interesting one, guys. NRG, really big pop there for this to kind of recover like that. Nice utility name. And what do you see? A really nice trend on a name like this. So interesting name there. CEG is another name, very similar. They're making very similar moves. This one's a gap fill, and it just filled the gap, right? So then you got CCL, Carnival Cruise Line, some leisure action going on there. I was wondering if you'd get some XPE run like Expedia. So keep your eyes on the leisure today to see if they get a nice little run. And that's more holiday look, right? Still Black Friday, still looking into a holiday type of rally. And I'm looking for a nice little rally today. XRT name still pulling back, so that's going to give me an opportunity on some of those names that have pulled back, like Nike today. That's pulling back, and I think that eventually we can catch these. Lulu, did you guys see Lulu's run yesterday? Oh man, I was trying to trade this bad boy yesterday, and it eventually started to get going for real. We'll see if it gets going today through that 330. All right, what you looking at, my friend? Yeah, no, I think it's being held back. It's just XRT right now.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't see what ANF just did. That's
that's a perfect. To me, I'm watching that. I think it's an opportunity. Wash out the bulls, right? So
yeah.
That's the way I'm watching it.
I'm big looking at this week dips as opportunities. I think that I don't know. It's just hard to be bearish this week for me. I don't know. I'm seeing the strength in Apple. I mean, look at it go right now. It's just it posts top wicks into a big level, 235, drops like what, not even $1, and it's already trying to cook it again. So I think that bulls are raring to go here. So we've got some room. The gap up, the retrace, it all felt very bullish. I don't know. I'm pretty okay with this action so far.
Utilities and technologies where the strength is right now, guys. So penny names, what are doing well there? PDYN. So you see how it still affects penny names, right? And I think that that's one important thing to show you guys, right? So I know I talk about this a lot with the bigger names, but it affects these smaller names too. Take a look what's leading there. So I look at just what's leading from the open, and I start looking at those areas, and I start looking at what's leading. Some technology names, some of these small cap names are really pushing. Like VC actually shows up in technology, right? It's in health information service. It's an important thing there, right? It's just telling me and scanning what's strong. And sometimes it's just algorithmic flow, man. I'm telling you, they just go in. It's like a basket buy, right? And it knows what's in here. So it's buying up these smaller names like KULR, right? 92-cent name. Why is this up today? Probably no one has any idea, but that doesn't matter, right? And look at the volume that this one's had. $1 seems interesting for KULR today. It really does, because
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I see it.
you're seeing that nice strength. A lot of volume came in yesterday, right? It couldn't break one yesterday. It tried it, what, 1, 2, 3 times now, and now you're on that 4th attempt. Rule of 3 says we start to hold this resistance now. Like to see it hold 88. Gives you a nice little level to risk off of here and look for a continued boom out, right? And look how that pulled back to that 88 right now. Looks interesting for even a 92-cent stock, right?
Wow, Apple. Speaking of volume, that's a
Apple,
meaty move.
man. I'm telling you, I was yelling it out there today, man. Nvidia sell, Apple buy, and these are those types of days where I can't even buy Apple. I want everyone to make the money. I'm not going to touch it.
What a guy! Thank you for your sacrifice.
Yeah, you guys go ahead and cash, right? I'll hold off to the side. Sometimes when you have the best ideas, it's also okay, especially if you're like me, you're trying to help people understand the market. It's okay not to trade it and just stay kind of objective about it, right? Because if I don't trade it, I can stay on the outside mentality.
Yeah, definitely. So much harder once you got skin in the game, just instantly.
Yeah, man.
Even experienced traders, you still get a little bit of the, perception shift.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, looking for a little shift in the market here, right? So I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback in the Qs and then a SPY actual move up. Why am I looking for the SPY to move up? So if you look at the sectors right now, what's red? You're seeing a lot of what's run in the SPY, right? But what's green is what's the Qs, right? Which is technology. So that's why you're seeing the Qs up so much, right? So what I want to see essentially here, if the market really wants to go here, is if the other sectors can work into the green, right? So like defensive right now, that's just slightly red, starting to work back here. I'm looking to see if industrials go green, right? So that would be like your Deere, your CAT, your Boeing trade that you talked about just a second ago, Steve. So this is what I want to show a little bit more of, guys. So, this is what I can give you guys really, where you guys can gain edge yourself just from listening, right? What sectors are moving, what stocks are moving, right? All right, KULR is up because it had this news. Yeah, awarded a U.S. Navy contract to develop high-temperature internal short-circuit cells for enhanced battery safety in critical applications.
Oh, that's a lot of buzzwords. Fancy. It must be good.
You're like me, Steve. You're like me, man. You've seen too much news for yourself, man.
I don't know.
No, so I'll tell you how it works, man. I'll be as honest as I can be, man. So this is how it works, right? So if I work for KULR, right, I work for what? I work for the PR company that's behind KULR, right? So what I do is I have a nice little news that's on my desk that nobody knows about. Only the CEO, certain people, it's held under wraps, right? And I'm just knocking on the door, and I'm a technical analyst now. I'm looking at the prices, and I'm like, when do we have a good day? Because when we have a good day and the market's looking prime, got to bring this news out. That's how it works, guys. I'm sorry, but that's how it works, guys. As much as a lot of people won't tell you this kind of things, I will tell you, because the truth is, man, let them come after me. It's all good. They already come after me.
No, you're dead on. There are shoot, I'm sorry, I got a little distracted by
no, you're good, my friend.
It'll come back.
Yeah, go ahead. Focus in, guys. I'll tell you guys about QUBT coming back as quantum computing comes into play. Of course, QUBT had a nice pullback yesterday. So now we look forward to nice recovery. So yesterday I was talking about maybe a pullback to 6. It came back to kind of 6 this morning. Went to 610. We're trying to recover 7 right now. That's where the battle is right now. So interesting name there, QUBT. Of course, yesterday's big move, QMCO, recovering now back to the 17. So this thing could not be done. This thing made a massive move, guys. Bigger than I think, at least stronger than I think IonQ at first, because IonQ was just stair-stepping up. So interesting name right here on the pullback, QMCO. Just recovered VWAP too. So it's an interesting name for sure. I like this above, below VWAP, 3 times the break strength. going into the move. That's a 1 minute. Let's take a look at the 5 minute. 5 minute pattern. Nice little recovery of this. Now I'd like to see a break above 17s and then come back and go to like 1690s, 1675, something right underneath that 17 with a wick, and then claim 18. Right. So let's see what happens on that one. That one's a strong name today. Of course, this one has a little bit bigger spread. You're seeing it even on my spread outlook, like about 30 to 40 cents. So be careful out there. Woo! GME in the green again, guys. I've talked about this, how GME is just making the move. No one's going to talk about it until it's too far gone, right?
Exactly. I'm quietly sitting on I'm quietly sitting on a pile of GME shares, and I'm not telling nobody because they make fun of me, but they don't know. They don't know where we're going.
Yeah, dude. At the end of the day, I mean, we all know how Roaring Kitty sold out of his Chewy position. Is this just Roaring Kitty back in?
Or
Questions.
Is it just time? You know, maybe
Questions
he's the one setting maybe he's the PR. You know?
No, because my thing is technically it looks beautifully.
Yeah.
Like that's where sometimes like you got to scratch your head, right? And so sometimes I know I talk about psychology a lot, but sometimes it's as easy as, okay, well, I can't think about this one. I just have to trade this one.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Don't think about it and trade it. Right. Just forget talking about this one. Maybe have a good moving average that you're seeing hold. Like you see how the 9 is now holding well. Multiple times it's come to the 9 on the daily. We got a great opportunity last week on Tuesday, but those opportunities are really good because it gives you the next layer of support to risk off of.
Right. No, absolutely.
Right?
And you can just you can pyramid into trades if they're working for you. You can also have a very clear, like, defined stop. You know, it helps the trades run themselves. And when your trade is working, it should be pretty hands off. Like, in my opinion, you know, for swing trades like this, like ride the moving averages, check the hourly if it closes below a big thing. But, you know.
Will AMC break 5 today, guys? Will it break 5? I know it's on the watch, man. It's on watch. Growth stocks are moving right now, guys. Let's look at ARKK to give us a little sign on that. See if any of these names are hot today. Coinbase getting a nice little push here, guys. So just to mention a name that's getting a nice little push. 300 stands out to me on that chart. Stands out to anybody else? I think anybody would see that 300 on that coin chart. So yeah, they're trying to defend that 300 today. Get it back towards yesterday's high, 317. If not, watch out for the takedown through the 280s and 290s. All right, let's go focus. Let's go trading, guys. A lot of stuff has happened. I've tried to cover a really good opening action here. It's 9:57. Let's start focusing in. Let's try to nail some trades. So right now we're doing this kind of like, so the way that I look at the cues, right? And I'm just going to erase everything. Sometimes it's as good as to do this, right? Just erase everything. So what are we seeing? We're seeing that we've pulled back to a trend line and now are starting to go away from it, right? So we got to keep watching the higher lows to keep remaining to show the strength into the holidays. But now we look for resistance to come into play. So 516 is really that big level on the cues that we can come after, I think, in the holidays. So we're watching for that move here. Big level is 510. We just went up there. Now we're pulling back into this 15-minute range. 508's takedown, that's where I'd be a little bit concerned for some more downside action today, but going to give us an opportunity back around, let's say 508.50s, if that can hold for the resistance in the morning to hold, and then start to go back to that 510. All right, man. And Steve, feel free if you'd like, you can always put your charts up there, but it's definitely an interesting one. GME eventually to zero, maybe, man. But the truth is, how long have we been saying that? And you notice I said even we there, right? It's just not going to happen, man. I can tell you. It's just, so remember that stocks, the way it works is also, if people want to buy it, it doesn't go away. That's what I'll tell you, right? So when stocks go away, a lot of times it's because people just don't want to buy it, right? So like SMCI is still one of those names where people are willing to buy it. But at some point, like Sava that went down to $4, right?
Oh, man. Yeah.
You're not going to want to buy that, right? And so that's when things start to really disappear, like go to zero, right? And so right now, that hasn't happened for GME. And I don't know how they do it because I really just don't. But they hang around, man. And sometimes we have to understand that story, right? Like I've talked about today, right? Story is very important, right? And that's what's going to affect things. Like right now, that's why people are trading with the tariff conversation, right? So they're taking the story and they're trying to apply it to different stocks.
Yeah, for GME, I wonder if maybe it's something to do with maybe they're investing into crypto or something. It feels like it moves with crypto. I don't know what the deal is, but
Yeah, I had the
it's
tendency of doing that.
so much fun. I don't know, I love it. Wow, look at that SPY candle. What's that?
Amazon strong today, guys. 206 almost.
Did we get news there? That was a big wick up. And
10 o'clock,
like
10 o'clock numbers, 10 o'clock numbers coming
Whoa.
in, guys. 10 o'clock numbers coming in.
Are we going to rip off of this if it wicks up?
All right, so I'm grabbing it right now, guys. I'm grabbing it right now. It should be coming in any second here, guys. So trying to pull it up here on Benzinga Pro. Let you guys know if I see anything there, but definitely we're starting to get that number to come in here, and it's definitely shaking some things up. All right, here, consumer confidence comes in at 111.7 versus 111.8. New homes sales, 610 versus 725 estimate. So really bad on the new home sales. That could affect more like your Toll Brothers. That was really hot.
Yeah.
And somebody knew that number up. We're not gonna say it. We're not gonna say it. We're not gonna say it because Toll Brothers was ripping yesterday. Today it's just like straight down. But
crazy.
Yeah, new home sales for October down 17.3%, 7% prior. That could just give a little bit of scare into the market here. Remember what I talk about. Wicks can be tricks here. So I'm still looking for that 508, 548 recovery. You see how I went to that 508 area. That's that panic area for the bulls today. So I'm watching that as a bull, right? I want to see it recover back through the 509 here and just say, well, see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. Netflix strong today, guys. Strong on Netflix there. So definitely seeing that as a strong name. Microsoft up a good amount. EA, Booking.com. We talked about this yesterday. Would Expedia and Booking get a lift into the holidays? I think we're seeing that right now. Big themes out there, guys. Try to think in themes sometimes. It's going to help you find stocks versus stocks trying to help you find a theme, right? So I think that's very important. And that can help you so much, guys. A lot of traders tell me, I don't know what to trade. Well, trade what you know. And sometimes that might be a theme that you can look in the investment space, right? Maybe you can just understand quantum and what's all about that, right? You're not going to be able to understand it all, but that's what I try to do. Trust me, it's hard.
Oh, yeah.
But it's something that you can definitely do. So I'm looking for a 5-minute recovery of the 508.50s right now on the Qs, and that's going to get me started here. Another one that's been strong lately, right? We've seen PanW now recover. I talked about look for potentially a 400 run on that as we were looking at what name? We were looking at, it was Snow. So Snow continuing on the rip. I talked about how that one could continue. It's a retail favorite. What you need is a PanW run. And that's what I think you're seeing right now. A nice little setup here on the daily. We're starting to recover that 9. If we can go to the trend line today and close above this trend line, it'll be looking really good. That's a move to like 403, 404. Will look really good there on PanW. ZS is another one that I'd be keeping an eye out because this one was hot, has pulled back today. Can it get back up into that level? And look at PanW. This is what I'm thinking because look at the volume that's come in the last couple of days. Where did it really come in? It came in on a support test and in a recovery of support tests. That, to me, seems like the big boys, right? So that's what I look for a lot of the time. Something like this, right? So, okay, on a panic day, you wanted it in. I don't think that was selling. I think that was people saying, okay, we're going to take this right back to 400 and see if we can take out this 408, right? So we'll see what happens there on PanW. Can I get the move? All right, guys, we'll keep it going. At 10:30, I found a quote. I was looking in, always like, just talking trade. There's this quote that I want to talk about a little later. So we'll see. We'll go ahead and do that. Steve, if you'd like, you can put your charts up. Tell me what you're seeing out there and give a little of a outcome. A lot of people are talking about SQ options and things like that, but You guys throw up some questions out there. Take a second. Let us know what you're looking at in the market. We'll take a second to catch some comments in the chat. I'll throw you up there, Steve. I'm going to mute your computer just so you don't get anything to audio out there. But there you are, my friend. You're up.
All right. So I'm seeing some flow coming in on Rivian on the 12C for next week. So when I see that coming in, I look for price reaction. And that was right here when I saw them and we initially surged up. So I did grab a little more Rivian. I had a starter, I think, right around there. Thought it was going to reclaim this. Then I was looking to, build a position around here. For me, this is working. It came back down here. It tested this crazy move. It's kind of scary, but I'm sticking with my thesis here. And as long as it's holding and curling up, I'm going to play this. Let's see. Other things I am keeping an eye on. On SPY, we're having some trouble here. So we are curling over here. We were up in basically the supply zone. So we could pretty easily come down and test some of these other supports. What I would be curious in seeing is how deep into this previous range we might go. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. And this is kind of the area that I'm looking for. This 9750, let's call it. And that'll be the 50% retrace there. It's also a rising hourly support. So if we were to drop here, do a quick puke and catch, which it does look like we're rolling. Not high confidence. We still have to kind of negotiate this wick, but I could definitely see a move down here and then a move up. Let's kill this old line here.
All right, guys, I'm trying to get into ANF here, guys. I talked about that 146. I've seen now 3 bottoms at that 146. Just mentioning that, I'll let you guys know how that develops.
So there's still buyers every time it drops. It's hard to, it's just hard for me to be too eager to go short, even though it doesn't look like a bullish intraday setup for me quite yet. So I'm just kind of biding my time here. And I think that we're going to start seeing some invalidations of these negative looking candles. And then we can start cooking. I really think we're going higher this week, but we shall see.
Looking around, guys, looking around. I'm having an order out there for ANF. It's just more, can I get filled towards 146? The spread's about $1 wide. So the big thing is ANF comes down, all the way down, back towards the level that I was looking for, right? So I was looking for an attempted washout back towards 146. I'm getting it here. Instead of trying to think that now, I'm just trying to react.
Like in the Bollinger Band squeeze on this ANF here, it's getting real tight, and so we should be seeing some liftoff happening pretty soon. Or in theory, rejection, but got a lot of support right underneath here.
Yeah, so I'm just looking for pullbacks back through 147 to 146 to add. I got 3 orders out, like a little ladder going on here. First order around the 147, then like 146.30, and then all the way down to 145.70. So I need a pullback though. That's the only thing, and I can't chase here. As much as I want to just jump on the offer, that puts me down $1 really quickly. So I don't even want to test that and going into that mentality. One of my things is just don't chase. And so some things that I heard, and let's just bring up the conversation right now, because I think this is an interesting conversation. Of course, you guys don't have to talk about it right now, but we can just kind of chat amongst ourselves about it. So a really interesting psychology trader, and he's a kind of a historian, I'll call him more, made a comment. He said, the next time you think about taking a trade, instead of taking where you thought your entry point was going to be, put that entry point where you were going to put your stop.
Oh, yeah.
And then see what happens. Because the market loves to go to stops and then go. So instead of thinking about that, just literally think, okay, this is where I'd put my entry. This is where I'd put my stop. And then just literally adjust back down to that entry as your stop, where your stop would be. And watch to see if the stock goes to it. Right? And then look to see if you get that rise above. Interesting like conversation. And it felt like, at first, like even for someone like myself that, is, been doing this for so long, I'm like, mean, that sounds simple, but it might actually work.
No, totally.
So
I mean,
it's just something to think about, right?
isn't it devious how they just go right for the stops? Like there's
I
there's
mean,
a
it
lot
works like that,
said.
man. I've been on the New York Stock Exchange floors. I talked to those guys.
Right. There's so much to be said for thinking how could I get effed the worst right now? How could the market take my lunch money and take the ball and go home, the worst right now? And that oftentimes is what you get.
Yeah.
So, I mean, especially if
Oftentimes
you're
it's what
trading.
yeah.
Oh, here we go. A little breakdown action.
All right,
So
I'm looking for last cut down in the XRT here, maybe down towards like the 82 spot and then starting to come back. So I'm looking for a little bit of some pullback action here and then going to look to see if we can recover quickly. So that's okay. The idea there would be for the recovery before reacting. It's not to buy on the weakness, but wait for the strength to come back in here and then we can trade things. But you are seeing the weakness come in right now. Steve, what are you seeing out there?
I'm still kind of sitting in the pocket here. I'm seeing basically the same thing you are. I think we have a decent amount of room down since we did kind of open at the top half of the range, but I'm seeing these buyers. They're still here. They still want to party. I mean, we've got a really good seasonality here. We have everybody talking about crypto at Thanksgiving. I mean, I don't know. I'm being silly there, but like there's a lot of incentives from a charting perspective that I think that we want to go up and sweep that 600. I feel like if we were going to have a bearish week, it wouldn't look like what we saw yesterday. The gap up and the mitigation, and then after hours, you get the surge again. And so to me, price action is trapping bears here more than bulls. That being said, always we're traders, not sorry, got caught up there. We got to pivot. We gotta move with what the market gives us. So I'm just trying to do that and looking for pockets of strength. So that's why I'm in Rivian right now. Not in too much else. I'm honestly, it's a little bit boring, but we're gonna catch a good trade, I think. I'd really like to look for long around that 97.50, 597.50.
Just looking back at VC here for a second, guys, and man. No one yelled at me in the chat.
Whoa, there we go.
Oh, man. This is the one that made me money in the small limited account earlier today. I would have looked at that bad boy. What a run there. 250 to 327 in 2 minutes? 32%. That is a beauty.
Yeah, congrats.
That's a beauty, man. I hope you guys nailed that one. A&F, still no entry. Why? Because we didn't go back to the 146. So canceled the ladder right now because we're back at the resistance. When I get back to that resistance, I know that I could instantly just get that fill right at the resistance and all of a sudden it brings it to support. So I would rather wait to see what happens here. Give me a strong resistance break and maybe I can go buying that versus trying to jump in here, then just getting the wash down to support and then being like, what do I do now, right? Do I double risk? Then you're just destroying your profit to loss ratio and you start to just mess things up. So I'm waiting here, and the big part is this XRT. So the XRT, I'm looking for one more attempt down here. Why, right? So we've had this 1 wash, 2 wash, 3 wash zone. This is usually when I get the wick type of wash. So I'm looking for a wick into that spot where I made the green bar earlier today. We drew this when? We drew this exactly at 9 a.m. here. But the idea there is for it to go back into that area, right? And so I'm looking for one more wick here. It's trying to start the recovery already, though. That's good action there to see. SPY and Qs starting to recover here. I'd like to see the Qs come down and kind of scare some people here. Same thing with the SPY towards like 598 and then the recovery. But if it just comes right now, the big idea is recover 599. Let's see some volume increase into that. And then we see the strength come back into the market. So you see how the volume's decreased. Let's see that ramp of volume into the push.
So something to keep in mind here is you gotta keep looking at kind of signposts to keep your bearings on dates like this. So if you're not looking at, I find looking at futures to be super helpful for this, since they trade all night. So they have all of those juicy indicators, all that data overnight, that we can kind of look into. So for example, ES here is just on that last push down, it front ran it by a tiny bit, but it's basically the VWAP there. So, you know, what did we do? We tried to push up once, twice in cash session so far. We came down, we were wicking on data. We're just coming back down to home base basically. And now what's happening? There's an incentive to buy. So, you know, this is still bearish, or I'm sorry, bullish. My mouth isn't working today, but hopefully my trades will be. We are starting to see what I was looking for on BA. Let me see if I can pull my screen up real quick. We're very close to engulfing 150.70 or 78-ish, and that's going to be a sign for me. If we get a back test of that clean, I might add to that position, but that's kind of what I was starting to look for. These names starting to bottom out here. Ideally the ones I'm in lead SPY, but this one's taking its sweet time.
There's SPY coming down again. Zena's coming back, guys. That smaller name that was moving massively in pre-market. So just watch out there, traders. It still hasn't recovered the VWAP or the 9. So just mentioning it as I see it on the scanners. ASPI, I've traded that one before. That's on the downside.
Oh man, they broke down. That's a bummer. The daily looked good to me, honestly. It looked like it was back testing that 9 EMA, but no luck.
Looking around, guys. Looking around.
Big wake up on SPY. There's buyers here. I don't know. Maybe I'll get fleeced, but it feels very hard to be bearish here.
VC opens up there. I think it's pulling back a little bit here. Yeah, it's pulled back a good amount here. So be careful on the down halt as this comes down through the 3s there. We'll look to see if it recovers 3, but definitely VC interesting there. Foxo was one that I talked about earlier when it was at 50 cents. It's gotten to 61, 63. It's not too bad. Quantum computing, though, now there's that QMCO break. I was just looking at this chart. I just pulled off of it. The 1750s held right there, and you got just your break there to 18 now. So there's that attempt back down, right? So there's your move right back down. You went there at 16, recovered 18. Now I'd look for pretty much haircuts underneath 18 if maybe you can jump on the momentum, but it's difficult, right? Because this is definitely a momentum style name. So the 9 EMA around 1755, that's what gives me more and more that like kind of right below 18 look. Right now you're getting that opportunity here. We'll look to see if it pulls right below 18, right around the 1780s. That's kind of like an area that I'd be looking at, 1750s. We'll see what happens there. QMCO getting hot. That could start QUBT that wants to recover 7, and it failed there just prior. Let's see if it recovers on the 3rd attempt on the support. All right, looking at the SPY, we're seeing that weakness come in there, and the weakness is definitely shaking up the action out there, so be careful. Now I look like I'll get that opportunity in ANF through the 146, so I'm actually going to look for a move below 146 and a recovery of 146 to get long on ANF, and look for the XRT to go through the 82, like I talked about, and then right back up, right? Or close to that 82 and right back up. As it starts to recover, we'll look for some recovery in some of those names. Amazon, GameStop, some of the strongest names out there. We'll look for those to pull back. But Amazon, I'm kicking myself, man. 202 to 207 here out the gates. 5 points. Black Friday trade. Beautiful, beautiful trade there. I think also, I mean, look at Shop too. This should have been all me today. And when it was down here around the 109.60s, 110 recovery, it was a beautiful play to play towards at least the 111s. Recovering on the daily, looking good here if it takes out yesterday's high, 112.
So let's see, we did get, oh no, it's still front running a tiny bit. I'd like to see it reach down a little bit more and actually tag that VWAP on ES here. And then what the other thing I'm noticing is, let's see, 15 points up, we have a big liquidity pool at 60.30. So I think that is a pretty ideal target there. Not seeing as much on the downside. Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic still. But like I said, that's when I'm too confident, that's usually when I get hosed.
Yeah. That's when we all usually get hosed, man. All right, looking around at the out there, SMST starting to come back, guys. So remember that MSTR short. I took it earlier. I nailed it. It's starting to actually go green here on the 650s, and we are seeing the market come down. So we never know. We could still get a pullback on the day, right? Maybe crypto actually pulls back, and it's been a strong move out of coin. So I'd keep your eyes on coin to give you a little bit of some insight on there. But I did see Clean Spark on the downside and getting hit hard here. Mara now just pulling back. So I'm liking the trade there. I'm going to go back to that SMST here. I'm going to go back to the main account where I made a good amount of portion earlier and take a shot here. Probably risk about 10 cents there on the trade. But let's do the same strategy. We just talked about this, right? So where would I get long right now? I'd get long 651s. I'm going to look for the quick pullback here towards the out. The out would be probably towards 43s and 40s. So I'm going to put the entry at like 42 or 43 here and see if we get the fill. So we just talked about how that approach would be, right? Technically, normally, I would put my order out on this SMST right at that 650. But instead of doing that, I'm going to go and put it at the support or near the support around that 42 or 40 area. So I'm looking to get filled on a pullback here. Let's see if I get that pullback fill and then the push above. Seeing shot pullback fast there too. I've seen Nike still come down, retail number coming back down. So the 82 pullback there. Coin could be pulling back on a lot of these, and so you could also start taking a look to see if some of those miners start to really get hit. So those could be nice short targets as Bitcoin's been trying to chop a little bit. This morning it was down, it kind of went back up. Let's see if it starts to make a move back down, and it is doing that. It went back up towards 10 a.m. around 93,321. Now starting to cut back down towards 93,000. So that's what I think we're seeing here. And we got to take some shots there.
Yeah, Master looks like, or I'm sorry, I always call it that. MSTR, MicroStrategy. It looks really not great. That's such a bad look to come to open lower, come back to the 400 and just head bonk like that.
Yeah. And I'm going with the leveraged one, right? On the day trade, right? So SMST gives me that ability to get more shares and get after it. It's a 2 times leverage one. I think there's another one too. But this is just a Defiance one.
Yeah, I think there's MST. I guess MSTU would probably be up. So MSTD maybe.
Yeah, it's one of those two right there. I'm looking to get in on this thing, but it's not pulling back. So I'm going to cancel out right now, looking for the pullback, see if we can get back there towards the 40s. But
oh, look at SPY. We're waking up.
Spy. I spy with my little eyes.
Let's cook.
Let's get XRT down there, man. Wicks are your friends sometimes. Wicks are tricks.
Wicks be tricks.
And I paid attention when I was a kid. They said tricks are for kids.
Well,
Tesla strong today. That looks good. Mobileye, one of my favorite names, guys, continuing in the green today. This is one of my favorite ones right now, guys. I've talked about this one since 16, and now it's at 18 and continuing to climb. Could always pull back to the 9 EMA, but I see this one eventually closing that gap. If it closed that gap, I don't want to miss it there. We drew this. When did we draw this? I always love that it tells you the date right there. Created it on the 19th. The 19th. So that's important, right? We're talking now almost, 7 days ago, right? So we're starting to see that really start to climb there. And that was right here on this date. So I'm going to put a little circle on it to remind us. But look at that. It's continuing to climb. Mobileye. Good name. And that's going to, I think, move with Tesla. So Tesla is catching the 9 EMA today, and it's looking like a beautiful rise on Tesla today. So Tesla is shaking that downside action at the 340s. Could recover the 344s today and really start to push here. It doesn't look bad. I like the hourly, and I think you got to really wait to see that 345 get taken out. But some strength right now in Tesla and trying to build off that 340s. You can see the 15. You see all those wicks down there? And the bodies are pointing more towards what? The upside, right? The bodies, at least, which is important. Is that Kevin Love in the chat? No, that's Kevin Locke. Oh, what's going on, my friend? How we doing? MATZ, is that what that says? I don't even, let me go put this a little bigger.
MSTZ.
MSTZ. Let's take a look at that. That's probably a small one name. Look at the Tesla taking off there. Let me go look at some trades action. This looks like to me like the Qs are catching up here.
And I'll take a look at SGMO there.
Meta
Whoa.
pushing to the top side of the break now. Meta just came back to the 570s. Looks good off that 572 for the break above here. Amazon looking interesting on the pullback to 206. Could just catch here and recover the 9. What about Apple? Apple's back down at the VWAP. 234 is now starting to make that a little bit of a rounding turn here. I need one more takedown on Apple, and I think it could start to recover here. And what about ANF? Also, right around that 146. Starting to like that bad boy. Just need to see it start to come back. And instead of like front running the move, just come back through this trend line. Then tell me you want it. So 147, 147.50s will be something to watch.
So for SGMO, it came up to claim the major target at 210. Pull it up on an hourly here. It looks to me, whoa, that's messy. Let's hide some of these. So it looks to me like it's catching on that big blue jagged line that will be clearer in just a sec here. There we go. Okay, so it came down and it triple bottomed off of this really nice support here, and it's basically just ping ponging in between these two kind of areas of market participants. So these guys are trading the daily chart. These guys are trading a longer monthly frame. You know, so what you're seeing here is basically price and shift hands from shorter term traders to longer term traders down here, where they're like, oh yeah, I'll buy this all day. And so now what it's looking like to me is that we're starting to actually see potential for a significant move up here. I mean, this is like very constructive to me. So what I would look for is keeping this, basically it's like a little band here, 192 to $2 even. So as long as that's holding the line, this looks really good to me. Really like that curl up.
All right, guys, taking it on the main account, the one that I made the 560s earlier on the same trade. I'm taking the trade on now, guys. And guess what? I just did that same conversation that we just talked about. Waited for it to come back to the stop and took the entry right there, literally. And I started seeing some sizing go in there, 4,000 shares at the 640s. I think they weren't the only ones watching that. Some stops get triggered there. I took the long there. So, of course, this is a little bit of a against the market trade, like the Q's coming back down, but taking a bigger position here and willing to risk like $100. I don't need to risk much here to see what happens here. I can do it off the 35s. I'm going to do it off the 35s. Risk like 140 here since it's a bigger trade. Let's see if this really starts to working and above 650s. QUBT starting to come back. I'd keep an eye out on those quantum names if we really start to see a rip there in QMCO. Ion Q is pulled back a significant amount. The Q is still pretty weak there in the SPY. We'll see if they actually start making a nice little lift. XRT like almost 82, guys. So I'm watching that XRT for that 82. And ANF just did that nice little undercut. I'm liking that undercut there. Like, so the undercut to 45.80s now could start to come back. So I'm keeping a close eye to see if we get some rebounds in some retail. Lulu's another name. Same idea. Really hit hard. Could start to rebound on hourly approaches off support.
Rivian's got juice there. Oof.
Rivian. Okay.
Got some giddy up off the. It basically retraced a 10% move right back to the base and said, let's try again. We'll see how far it gets, but I'd like to pick up some Apple, but like you said, I think it might need one more push down. But SPY acting happy there. It's a big candle. I'm seeing some nice action on the book map here too.
Trying to see if we get one more down action here in the Qs. So like one more fake out to the downside and then recoveries come in.
I'm thinking that might be it. The 2 pushes
That might
down
be it. That was a
36.
nice little recovery right there in the SPY.
Apple's acting right. I did get some Apple there. It was kind of a chase.
Aha!
It was kind of a chase. So we'll see how it works.
I can't
Stop.
blame you on that one, man. I really cannot blame you for the Apple. Remember what I told myself, I'll stay off of it, man.
Look at we're juicing now. That's
I'll
a bid stick on
stay
fire.
off of it, Steve, for you, my
I
friend.
appreciate you, Mitch. Thank you. I'm just on.
Trust me, the hands are tempted. The hands are tempted.
You get the next one. You get the next
All
one.
right,
I'll
all right,
keep
all
the hands off.
That seems fair. That seems fair.
All right.
Guys, loving the action. How's the chat doing out there, guys? What's up? CrowdStrike. All right. Well, I look at just Pan W. I would just look at Pan W, right? I'd be instead of looking at the same name, I'm like, okay, so Pan W trying to recover 390s right now. On an hourly basis, you're literally just went back to 390s. You just went to 395 and 396. So that's your kind of levels there. 15-minute nice recovery of the 9 EMA there. I'd be watching that. On CrowdStrike, the same kind of thing. So you went undercutting that 9 EMA on a Harmy. It scared a lot of buyers. Now you got to see it come and take out that high, the 366.75 on the 15. Below it did that pre-market wash low between 361.17. If it went back to 361, I would be a little bit concerned. But right now, it's kind of holding in near that VWAP. That's CrowdStrike for you guys. I'll do a little peek through here. Boom. There you go, man. We help you guys out. We're here to tell you guys at least what we see, like always, guys. You guys make your own shots, but definitely looking around to see if we can nail this. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Might get cut out here in that SMST. Still in there. Might get like 210, 220 haircut here, 630. I'll take it with my 534 profits. Still looking to see if we still get some downside action here to come in. And there's the SPY coming right back into a red candle on the 15. So be careful out there, guys. I still think could be potential to reach for the 598s. XRT still haven't hit the 82.
So I'm very curious about what SPY does right in this very candle. It's coming back to fill the imbalance from that kind of gap up when the market kind of FOMO'd and was like, oh, are we doing this? Are we doing this? So I would like to see it wick up just like this. And then these supports can kind of curl up and can pop us there. But right now, pretty standard. We found the bid. We pop up to the 200-minute moving average. That's a soft rejection. Come back and kind of paint the tape, so to speak. I always think of the tape like it's like painting a wall. You know, goes up, it goes down with a big roller. If you get a bubble there, you know, it went up too fast, and you bring it back down, even that out. You know.
All right, guys, just took some ANF, guys. Took the ANF off the 145. I could see that expansion. I could see a wick. I could see how this could come back off. It's off also yesterday's low action here, the 144.45. Now I'm just going to watch to see if ANF can start working its way back above the 9 to show me some confirmation. I went with 100 shares, something that I feel I can manage. This is in that brand new limited account, of course, that super buying power. Let's see if I can get it, guys. Yesterday up 500, and that was on SoFi. SoFi's pulled back too. It's holding pretty well too. So names that I feel really strong about, I feel like Amazon, Shop, Apple, Meta, those names doing really well today. So I'd look to see if those names could continue here. Now I'm starting to see a little bit of some reaction to the upside there in ANF. I'm liking that action at least. We'll keep watch to see what happens in XRT. Can we get some rebound now and it come back into green on the day? So it's just pretty much like a hourly washout. And then now we need to see hourly recovery for like the next hour.
Yeah, that's a good time to bring up what I was actually about to mention. We're an hour into the market here, into the cash session, so I always like to take a look at the 15-minute sticks and just kind of get a feel for what the motion is, because you can get lost in the sauce in those ones, you know. And
yeah, that's for sure.
I got one, but you know, I gotta keep myself grounded. So we had these nice 2 chopsticks. I don't like this, but let's see what it actually breaks out as. That's not exactly what I'd like to see. Maybe it could be filling in this fair value gap here. It's running a little hot, but yeah, in general, I'm feeling like we want to go up, it's just going to try to shake the tree here a little more. So guess we'll see. I could see this 97.50 still being in play. That'd be my last spot that I'd like to add, really. After that, I'm getting kind of nervous, and I'd like to get confirmation of, that I know what the heck is going on. Rivian's getting a nice push up here. It looks like it wants to go to 12, which is good news for my 12 strikes. Oh, and BA is working. Very nice. I think I am, yeah, nicely in the green on those. So yeah, just sitting in the pocket like we were talking about really pays dividends. It's so easy to FOMO in up here because you're like, oh, I want the thing. It's going up. Here we are. Market's open. Then it just pukes on you. It's like Rivian.
All right, guys. Might take an ad on that SMST as it goes into the green here.
All right, we have a good luck trading cat. Get it, Mitch.
Get it, get it. You know what they said? They said hand off on SMST.
No touching. That's all you, baby.
All right, guys, taking a bigger shot on that. Of course, I have some good cash, so I've been trying to make this one come back because the truth is the eval ends at the 5th of December, so we got like 2 weeks or something like that, a little bit under that. I'm trying to take a good shot here to see if this get back there. That's like 695. That's SMST. I'll put up my chart here so you guys can watch that. You see the position there, long 3,000 shares there. Definitely a big position. Need to go protect ANF, so let's go do that. So ANF right now at the 144s. Don't want it through that wick. We need to start seeing that rebound. I haven't added to this position a little. I have the option to add 100 shares here, but it just increases risk. What I need to see it is start to come and rebound through that 146. So of course I'm closer to 145, which makes me feel good because on a quick recovery we can be at 146 on this name. So I don't need to be that big in ANF because the recovery today could be all the way to 150s and 155s, 158s.
Yo, Mitch, are we getting your thing? Are we getting the little swing back double bottom into the push here?
We'll see it.
A little higher low.
There's the little swing back, and that's the one that usually scares the traders and starts a whole bunch of stops, and that's the one thing to look at now.
Mitch, I was gonna be scared, but then I looked down. I have my protection omen, and I said, "No, we ride." And now here we go.
Yeah.
Look at that power stick.
Sometimes you just hold on to the animals. I do the same thing. Don't worry.
There's bull markets, there's bear markets, but it's all a cap. Let's be real.
I like it. I like it. Meow on over. Let's go. All right. Apple looks interesting there, man. I like that recovery on Apple. That does look interesting for me.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to hang tight.
It needs to reclaim 34.65 for me for it to really get cooking. That's
SMST just did a little spike there, so that's a little scary.
And SPY,
a little
decent
spike
volume on this pullback. I don't like that.
Woo. That's a spike there on SMST. Let's go. All right, so on that one, I can move the stop loss now to break even and just let it work. So it's just cash pretty much.
Cash money.
So you guys saw that one. Now I got to go watch ANF because the takedown through the 143 is not what I'm taking part in. You see that recovery and how quick it goes? Now, if I wanted to get in, it's 145.18. So the big thing is with a stock like this, like ANF, it's hard to get the right entry size. Why? Because a lot of traders put in their orders in one order. What I really should have done, just looking back, hindsight 2020, right, is put that little ladder there. Keep the ladder approaches a lot of times when you're dealing with bigger spreads. Why? Because it's going to help you get the improvement of the offer like coming down to you, right? Instead of you trying to like catch the offer and the bid just being wide down, right? And so that's where I would say, hey, Mitch, you should have done it the right way and put it at your stop, right? The stop would have been near that kind of 143, 144 area. So we could have gotten entries below, right?
Oh, Mitch, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have a very special candle starting to potentially form here. I love...
Show me it.
All right, so we got the fat volume push down here. And when that gets negated and closing above like this, I think we are starting to cook here. This is what I would like to see for sure. So, we had the power off here. It came back and it said, no, we're not going lower. and then it came up here, and then volume came in, pushed it down. But it was really just buyers that wanted a little bit of extra, something, probably off that 98.50 level. So they pushed it down there, they scooped it up, and now we're pushing higher. I think I won't get ahead of myself, but I'm feeling good after seeing that. Love engulfing sticks, even on a 1 minute. Start somewhere, right?
Yeah, XRT getting down to 82.11 and then starting to come back. So that makes me feel a little bit better now. Would like to see that hold the 82 spot. Talked about that early on in the day. So now I start to look at what could rebound here. GameStop right around VWAP, 30.50s, just bounced off of that. Revolve Group doing well. Amazon pushing well today, man. That was definitely a name to be in. Walmart starting to push, and that's a Black Friday name also. So that has a nice little 3 tops or 2 double top around the same area. 90, 91, 90, 95. You think they want 91? So that's on the daily there on Walmart. So I would keep an eye out on that one. You see right there? I think somebody wants 91. So I think they're trying to get it there. You've seen it drive up there multiple times. Now it just did like a nice hour drive higher. Let's see if the market can recover, then that can recover, right? And so I'd be looking at that, especially like XRT and names in there. Best name in there, GameStop.
Oh yeah, all day.
I keep throwing it in my XRT post, and it's just literally just because, hey, dude, it's a top name that's moving there. I'm not going to care what it is.
Right, exactly. People get so caught up in like the politics of a stock or the narrative of a stock.
Nah, man.
You and me, I mean, there's fundamentals, but if the chart's good,
the politics of a stock are great to talk about when the stock market's not open.
Exactly.
Then we can have some fun. We can, talk our, nonsense, and then keep moving along.
But now it's time for making money. And speaking of which, look at that. See that action on SPY? That's exactly what we like to see off of those big volume push downs and reclaims.
So
and now we're
this
getting
right here.
That's
a nice round and wick there. Like, that's that big round. That's big old round thing. Hey guys, the SPYs might be telling us something here. The big thing to watch now, a body close above this level. So in the market, we haven't closed above 599 on a 15-minute basis. So in the next 15 minutes, if we can close above that 599, I think it'll start triggering the algos to go long, right? And so things like this is what I look at a lot of the times. And a big part of this is that the smaller time frames are not going to show you this, right? So that's another thing. We're moving the bigger time frames and trying to focus on that right now, because that's what's going to give us a little bit of an advantage here.
Hey, yo, Apple. All right, my trim filled on Apple there.
Okay. Look at SMST. Let's go. SMST.
That's the short, right?
Yeah, that's the short.
We're printing long. We're printing short. That's just how we do it here. That's
just just a good little 3,000 share position. Let's go.
We take those. So Apple, we are going to clear highs of days. If you are a day trader, look for potential rejections over 236, 236.50, and 237. And call it 25. That's kind of the 3 levels I'd have for extensions here. We can cook. Apple can go to 240 fast. So I grabbed a couple of those 240 calls for next week out, which are quite aggressive, and I don't plan on, holding them all the way up that ramp for the delta shift there. So they were like low delta, and I want to sell them once they're a little bit more reasonable. But yeah, I did take risk off there just because I had grabbed 2, because I was a few candles early on the first one. And I'm not gonna lie, Mitch, it was a shame buy. I didn't tell you. I didn't tell the chat. I only told when it started to work, and I added.
Hey, it happens. No worries, my friend.
Me in the
Shake
corner.
it off. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry, man. It happens to the best of us. That's why I try to show the filled orders, and then people will call me out on it. But it's just a part of it, man. It's just it's how the game is, man. And a lot of times, like I tell you guys, you have to try to catch yourself, catch your psychology, right? And try to think about it, right? And why am I feeling certain feelings, right? This is the important part of trading. It's not about the actual results that happen. It's about taking the actual lessons in This is the practice. This is the actual run, right? And then
Yeah.
taking that information and actually doing something with it.
And Mitch, you are so on point that I'm feeling personally attacked, because you know why I took that first Apple contract a little early?
Why?
Because I had a Rivian swing and I wasn't paying attention the first minute in the market, and I turned around and it went from up to 8.
Well, the only thing I got to tell you, my friend, is I didn't touch Apple for you. I didn't touch Apple for you.
Thank you. I'll make it. Oh man, we're all gonna make it. Wag me.
This is gonna be the interesting one right here. So you see how Nvidia is set up? It's set up for a big rip, but look how it's red underneath the VWAP compared to like stocks that are ripping right now, like Amazon, Meta. Look at Meta. Meta's on a nice push today, guys, and that thing never came back below the VWAP. That's what tells you it.
Yep, dude.
That's what tells you it, right? Is that when you're seeing the Qs test down, break, but then a name like Meta is not wanting to break, it needs just maybe 2 or 3 of the big boys to be doing the same thing. And yeah, you can lift the markets.
Yep, totally.
So,
and you can watch that cycling happen too. And it's like, why? This game is so hard. Don't make it harder. If something's in the top half, ride it. If something's in the bottom half, wait for it to show strength.
Microsoft holding the 9 didn't even go back to the VWAP. It said, well, I don't even care about going back. Like, we're going up, baby.
Right.
Google now recovering the VWAP. The only one that's looking ugly is Nvidia. That's
I think
a
you're
telling
right.
sign.
I think it's positioning. I think because we got the big surge up and then it cratered to under 100, whatever, and then we got the double top. I'm not saying it's done. I'm not that guy. It's going higher, but like right now, positioning shifts. You know, that makes complete sense. So I mean, and what has been having trouble? I mean, Amazon's been being annoying with Bezos selling every time it touches 200. Google's having trouble. There's places to dump cash, you know?
Yeah, there's definitely places to dump cash here, guys. All right, so looking if ANF can start to recover here. At this point, I can start to look to see if I do get a takedown back below the 144.50s. That could be an out. So that's a small out. It's only $60 that I have to risk there. So that's what I'm watching here. I'm not showing my hand, but that's around the level that I'd be getting out now on ANF. So the idea here is that we need to start seeing it go green and push to 147. So the spread, I wanted to widen out almost instantly to 146 and then start working its way on the climb. XRT starting to come back. That's one stock that I really need to see come back. That's the ETF, right? So there's the action into the green. Let's see if ANF really quickly, the spread starts to jump. So you see 145.40s. I'm looking for that 146 to really quickly come into play. Then 147 is the area where I could look at an ad that would move me up to 146. So we'll see what happens here. Now starting to see that the action's coming in there. Going to need the SPY to really take off here. And that's going to be a nice telling sign. We got above the 599, right? Let's look at the 15-minute to see if that can actually hold. And it did. It closed at what? 599.26. So now I'd just look to see that that body can hold on the pullback. So any pullbacks to like 598.80s, I want to see hold. I don't want to see, let's say, something in like 598.60s. I just want to see maybe a VWAP attempt one more time. But other than that, I'm looking for a clear upside push. Higher low on the 5-minute around the 9 EMA, 598.84s would give us a very similar outlook on 2 time frames, right? So
yeah. And I just want to highlight, because you mentioned that under 60, it would look kind of stinky. And I think you're so right. Oh, let me pull that up. Just on the 15, it's a very clear pivot. You know, these opens and closes. It's very important to watch these. And if you look back, it lines up with here. We'll keep going and it'll line up with other stuff, you know. So it's a very defined level. And, you know, it's definitely worth playing off. So I guess now we're probably going to test it here.
Yeah, if I look back at just the day and I think about how I would want to have trade, and I always want to tell you guys this because I think it's important. Shop was one that was definitely on my radar. I should have been playing this today. So looking for the recovery on Shop on hourly pullbacks and then looking for that to go back to the green side. So red to green action, hourly undercuts it right there at the 109.70s, recovers the 110, and then you're right back towards the highs. This could have been a great play today. 2 days in a row, right? We played Shop yesterday, $500 winner, easily a $500 winner again here, and never broke the VWAP. right? Once it recovered,
Good
it
fill.
never broke the VWAP. So that's a really good pattern that I sometimes just want to give you guys, because these are the type of plays that you can just continuously play. There's no reason to look elsewhere. The only reason I look elsewhere a lot of the times, I'm running a show, right? And so I have to look elsewhere. If not, I'm telling you, shop would have been on my main screen, and I would have just been trying to nail shop and Amazon, those two names. Because if they're going green, they're going green side by side. And so Amazon's quick move would have told me, yes, buy this shop pullback, right? So just think in hindsight 2020, right?
No, that's so smart though. Just like paring down your focus. Like you don't need a ton of things on your screen. I mean, I'm not saying don't keep an eye around the market, but like there's so much to be said for learning the ins and outs of a stock and for just picking a few setups for a day. You know, like there's no shame in narrowing focus if you're finding yourself getting distracted and pulled, you know, every which way, because there's so much.
We got our small cap name that's making the move here. It's HSAI. Look how it's holding 1, 2, 3 times this 9 EMA. If it cuts at 7, it's a good buy look now. So I'd look for a quick move to 7 and then a recovery right back up through that. And I can risk right underneath that here on a small cap name, HSAI.
Okay. Wow. What a stick on the daily. That is insane. I can pull some levels. If anybody's in HSAI, I can chart up some real quick.
Yeah, what do you like on that? You can describe what you see there.
Yeah, let's see. So real quick, I'm going to slap a fib on this equal range. And so, yeah, we did get the 2 extension there, and we are seeing a little bit of pullback. So that's pretty typical for these types of moves. Whenever you're getting a breakout like this on small cap names, I always like to extensions. I think that they're one of the most reliable ways for gauging squeeze targets, because it's so hard, so much to catch a good entry and then be like, oh, I did great, 5%, and then it doubles or something, you know. And so that's something to keep in mind for sure. I'm gonna scroll over to the left side of this wall here. So first off, what is clear to me is that this is becoming a cup and handle. That's definitely what it wants to do. So it's definitely
we cutting out a little bit, Steve. Cutting out a little bit. Maybe it's the internet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see. Any better here?
There you go. A little bit better.
Okay, cool. So what I was saying is basically it loaded up, and we can see that on the volume profile here. So there's a lot of buyers here in this base, and this is, you know, what a base is. That's what's happening. It's building this out, and then we're pushing off this. So we're going to look for the next volume node up, and, you know, it'll very often be the lip of this cup. So the market has a very strong urge to bring it up here to 1050. And it's probably going to do it pretty darn quick. So what I would look in that regard is actually another tool. Just go like that. That is another kind of good barometer. So yeah, exactly. This is this is acting right. You know, essentially it surged up to the 50. Now it's going to probably flag here before pushing higher. But honestly, crazy start. What we can also look at is we can zoom into the left side of this wall, and we can look for pockets, little holes like that, where it's what I'm doing there is finding the fair value gap. I'm taking the bottom of this candle in this 3-bar pattern, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm taking the top of the 3rd bar, and so there's a little pocket there. And when I was talking about filling the paint, that's a good example of where price will love to surge up and see it wants to fill that gap. It wants to repaint that place where on the tape it just got surged through down. So there were orders on the tape that never got filled on the other side. And so this is kind of providing balance. So what we would like to see is this to fill, flag here, and then push higher. Basically flip this to support.
All right, guys, just secured here now $700 on that SMST trade here, 690. Put the stop there, guys. So that's looking really good on that trade. So nice. SMST, I'm watching this KWE on some of the smaller ones, but look at SMST. Now it's pulling back there. It's probably going to come and try to get my cash here. You guys will see it cash, and that's not a bad trade at all. I could leave this to keep riding, but the truth is I've been trying to tell myself, get to a certain level, take the cash. Stop letting trades come back to break even. Take the cash. And then we'll worry
Absolutely, man.
about it. Keep trading, keep trading, keep trading. If you get a monster ride, you get a monster ride. 2,000 is the max profit. Right now, securing 690s. And how do I do that? It's as simple as putting the stop loss and the target profit. So this is what I mean by securing the win. Now, if it comes down here, I already got the 690, right? So then I create this ladder approach where, yeah, if the stock keeps going, I want to keep riding it. And sometimes I'll make it a little bit closer, right? I'll just go like this and I'll just grind it up. As this moves up, I move this up, and then I move this up, and then I grind it up. Now I secured 750, right? And that kind of action can really help you as you do kind of a manual stop trail loss, right? You can do this also just by clicking this button here. So I'm going to do it that way here just to do an example for you guys. Like always, trying to teach you guys that we have the trail stop right here. We can adjust that too. So I could do a trail stop right there, 26 ticks. And sometimes I'll just pull it back to give myself a little bit more, but it's still a trailing stop there, and it's going to move with the action. So I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I could just move this target profit up if I wanted to. I still think we could break 7 here. So I'm going to put it up to 710 and see if we just keep running to that. You see how it jumps to 840s? And sometimes you're going to get stop hunted on this. So you could still pull it back and it's still doing the action, right? Still triggering, right? So here I just pulled it back some there as it comes to try to get me, right? So it comes to try to get me again. I'm moving it to 780s. So I'm essentially like kind of battling the pullbacks, right? So if you want to spread out, that's fine, but I'm going to keep putting it at the stop there. You see, I came and got me there, and it's going to do that sometimes, but I would rather do this kind of approach than get burned on that, right? And so a lot of times what happens is you'll see a big order like this, the 666, that it can come back to on the level 2. And that's what usually happens, is trying to reclaim some 666 level there and grab it. It went right now to on the low there, 668 with the spread down to 667, trying to grab some of this volume that's over here, the 65s and the 64s now. So things like that can always happen. Good trade here, $1,300 day. You can't be mad about that, right?
Beautiful, dude.
Let's go.
Good shit.
Let's go, guys. Let's go trading the other ones, right? They got 3 accounts to trade. 2 in the green, trying to get this A and F in the green. Let's go.
Real quick, I'm seeing beautiful ramping up in SPY. I love it.
Yeah, let's go, Steve. Tell me about it. Tell me about it, my friend.
I mean, let me show you the ways of the higher highs and higher lows. We got our bottom. Just remember, we said this is the stick. We both saw that pop, and we were like, all right, something's cooking. Something's cooking. We were a little hesitant here, but what were we talking about? High or low? All right. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Real quick, let me see what just filled. Something just popped, and I just made some money, but I'd like to see what. Rivian. Okay, great. So yeah, can I do a trade recap real quick?
Yeah, go for it, my friend. Take over.
All right. So Rivian, if you played this with me, if you got in down here, this is a great place to take profit, and I'm actually going to do that right now. I'm going to just bail on these. Oop. All right, I left 1 runner. I would like to roll that up if we can surge over 12. So yeah, basically this was a real simple trade. It came back to the hourly trigger. It came back to the previous space where it broke out from. I'm very bullish on the stock. I wanted to play the continuation. As you can see, it's starting to form a new base here. So that's why I was long here. I am hesitant with this big weekly trigger here, so I did trim into here. Pretty straightforward. Big fan of this. I'm going to keep this closely, or keep this on my focus list for the next couple weeks. I've been seeing a lot of really far out of the money flow, and I think it has the chance to do the thing that like Hood did, you know, those just the crazy like 11 to 30 move, that kind of thing. So yeah, keeping an eye on that. Apple, I took half off of my position at the high of day, but I'm very confident that this is going to go higher. And then BA, the other I thought that it was doing okay here, so I nibbled, and then it came back down, and then when it reclaimed here and back tested, I added. So this one's working well too. I'm a little nervous on this one. It wicked up into this little gap and then started to turn around. So I'm going to keep an eye on it here at the mid 200 moving average. I do have 2 contracts here, so I will take one off here just in a second. I think that's all my trades for the day. The only one that I was talking about that I didn't play was SPY, and that would have been a really nice trade if we had bought in this candle here, or maybe in one of these back tests. If you are long SPY, I'd be looking for 600 break by tomorrow, I'd say, and I'd probably today. And honestly, we have so much room that if we really start ramping, like we could trend up to this 602, 603 area. That would probably be a tomorrow thing, but hey, we still got a lot of day left here. So this is a great start for a bullish day. We're basically building a base.
Exactly. And it pretty much, if you look at the SPY there, right, we talked about would the pullback come back to that 598.80 area, and it was right on the key, right on the kisser there. So I think we're seeing the market well today. And these are days where I tell you guys, right, there's days where you're going to see the market well. There's days where you're going to see the market not so well. And that's just simply as that. Try to understand that. That's the analogy that I give all the time about the brake pedal and the gas pedal, because it's so important as a day trader to understand when you're seeing things like you're seeing it work and literally it's right in front of you. And then there's days when you're just like icky, scratching that head, wondering what the hell's going on in the market. Those are days where we want to be careful and understand that we're not seeing it so well. So just risk adverse, get out of here. You know what I mean? I love you guys in here in the chat, but I'm going to tell you right now, if it's going to save you money to not be here and head out, then head out, come back tomorrow, right? I'm not telling you to leave completely because, you know, of course I want you guys here, but the truth is I'm always going to think about and tell you guys the way that I want you guys to think about trading, because the truth is it's so much more into that psychological outlook and understanding how you are performing at that moment. Are you in peak performance or are you starting to slack? That's important. Right now, I'm feeling it, but I'm also trying to be a little bit careful too. Because like, let's say like this ANF, trust me, everything is telling me, itching me to add to this. I'm up, but I'm up mainly the spread amount. If I add here, it really quickly can turn around on me. So I'm just going to wait until I start getting up big and I start to really see the XRT come back. Start to see the XRT hold that VWAP and show me the strength. That could be the day, that could be the moment that I'm like, okay, yes, retail's coming back on the day. I like Best Buy, but you can see how it pulled back off that 86. Things to think about right here. And you could still get some pullback. What I need to see, take 600 SPY. And next thing you know, everyone's talking about 600 on CNBC.
Very last thing, I did buy that dip there, that red candle. That was too tempting. After all of those higher lows that we were just talking about, it just popped a big red candle right into support. I said, I'll eat that up. So it's starting to work. I think we go to 600 today.
Apple looking good there. Tesla pushed above that 345, came back to VWAP. Let's see if it goes back to that level. Amazon continuing through the 207, now 207.59. So, I mean, Black Friday trade all day on Amazon. And you guys know it. Black Friday is starting already, guys. You can get deals right now. So I think that you're really starting to see that already get the lift there. Take a look to see if the XRT starts to push off. And all those names that were weak this morning, like even Best Buy with the guidance down, if it ends green, well, I'll tell you that. They're going to be looking at it. ANF now starting to recover, trying to get above the 147. So at this point, what can I do? Just stop loss, break even, right? At this point, I won't lose on this trade no matter what. And now I can just go and walk away, right? And then when this gets to about 300, I'll make sure that I move that stop loss up and start securing profits, right? So, hey, good day in the new limited account. We're up 575 on this one right now. With this, we'd be up towards like 700, trying to get to that brand new limited account that you guys can be getting right now. So if you're not getting your Black Friday deal, what are you waiting for? Don't wait till you not get the 10% off. I mean, the limited deal will be on there, but by that time, you know, it's already gone, right? ANF getting that nice little jump up 200 now. This is what we wanted to see, right? Remember how I came about it slow? That's what helped me. If I went out at big, I'd be already out at ANF. So we'll see what happens if this really starts to climb back, and keep your eyes on some of those small names. Will they get the push today? Find out, of course, and definitely starting to see the market look a lot better. The Qs starting to recover now. That's what you want to see. So they took a little bit of a pause there. Some of those tech names, what's leading the Qs, of course, you can watch to see it continue hot. CEG, some utility names, Microsoft pushing. Amazon almost up 3% now. Names to watch. What about Meta? We talked about it before the open, the Oculus, and I was talking about it at Trader TV. They asked me, well, Mitch, what are you buying for Black Friday? What could maybe that be the trade? I talked about the Oculus 3, that Meta could be a surprise runner, a surprise one, not one that you would think about, but look at that takeoff there in Meta. Really nice push there. Netflix going higher, holding the 90 MA pullback right now. Fortinet, interesting chart there. Apple, my friend. Looks like we're seeing it. We're seeing it out there. We're seeing it, man. And look at this. This is the last thing to talk about today. and this was an important one. Pay attention to relationships, team. If there's one edge that I have, it's relationships and understanding in that. So look at this, guys. You think the rotation's not going away from NVIDIA? I mean, what are you missing here? Just wait. I guarantee it, man. Guarantee it. Guys, just send me the comments on CNBC later today as you start to see people mention this, right? Because what happens, right? What's happening right now is all those money managers, they're running to the sell button. They're seeing the action. And one thing that I see on the action on NVIDIA is a lot of bid action. So what is that telling me? Not a lot of offers coming back into the market. I think it's retail trying to rebuy this dip, and the big boys, they're saying, put that sell program, go buy up the other tech names, we'll be okay.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, absolutely.
We're seeing it. Now will it continue? ANF getting up there to 213. I'm out of here, guys. I'm looking good on this trade. I'm going to hang tight. I'm trying not to be greedy. I might be able to take 300, 400 from this trade. If I could take that much, I don't need ANF to go back to 160. Don't need to be that greedy, right? So even if it just comes back here towards like support 151, we're up another $3 from that we're talking $6 from 145. That's $600. I'd be more than fine with taking that. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Steve, thank you, my friend. It's always good to be with you, my friend. Definitely. Yeah. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving, man. I hope the family's all great. I hope your trading's doing well. But most of all, I'm thankful for you coming on the show today and helping us out. I know a lot of people in the chat love to hear your conversation and your insights into the market. So, hey, like I always say, Steve, the door's open for you whenever you'd like, my friend.
Oh, I appreciate you, and have a great Thanksgiving to you and all you out there as well. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, guys, keep battling like always, and be thankful, guys. Understand that even just to do what we do every day, if you're the type of trader that maybe can do work and trade, we got to be thankful for those opportunities, because the truth is there's a lot of people that would wish to be doing what we're doing. So let's understand that and use that to our advantage. Be thankful. I'm thankful for Trade the Pool every single day. Get to do this in front of you guys. So, hey, smash the like. We'll be back tomorrow. And like always, guys, keep battling. There's only one way to win in this game, and that's to keep trading.